I have a dilemma right now. I don't know if I really called you to see if you can do a medical scan.
Imagine the eyeball is Jell-O. Here in the Deep South, they would call that a congealed salad, darling. You got a question for me?
I do.
I had a question for my granddad who passed away 2 days ago.
She's scared, and I just want to know what we can do to help her.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Julie Ryan Show. I'm so delighted you could join us this week. My intention in doing this show is to provide information, insight, and comfort to people all over the world by helping to answer life's unanswerable questions. We got a whole bunch of callers on hold with questions, and so I'll be eager to hear what their questions are and what Spirit has to say. A couple of things first. My August Live is next Tuesday, August 22nd at 8 Eastern. So go to askjulieryan.com/live to sign up. It's a blast, you guys. It's 2 hours. It's a party atmosphere. I answer questions. It's kind of like a discussion with all the people that are there too. And I give away a ton of prizes every month. So I give away free sessions with me. I valued at $250. I give away free classes valued at hundreds of dollars. I give away free books, give away all kinds of free things. So it's really fun to do that. You got to be there in person and you got to be on camera in order to win a prize, but it makes it really a fun event. So Ask Julie Ryan Live, August version, next Tuesday, August 22nd, askjulieryan.com/live. If you can't join us, sign up for it anyways, and we'll send you the recording. And that'll be something that you can listen to when you have a minute. I was in Atlanta over the weekend. I got to go to the hotel we're going to be using for the angelic attendant training in November, the 3rd through the 5th. Right near the Atlanta airport. You guys, it is so fabulous. I just can't tell you. It exceeded my best expectations. And it's a really cool design. It was originally built by Porsche, and it has this rooftop room that we're going to be having our lunches and our dessert reception in. And then it's got this outdoor deck that's right on the landing line of the Atlanta airport. So you can see the jets coming in and you can see them land in the airport. And you're going to be amazed at how close it is. So the other thing that was amazing to me is when you're inside the hotel, a lot of times at airport hotels, you can hear the jets. I couldn't hear anything. So I guess it was German engineering at its best, but even in an all glass room, I couldn't hear anything. So I'm getting really excited. While I was over there, I thought, well, I just need to go check this place out. And it looks even better in person than it did online. So be sure and sign up, askjulieryan.com, go to training, and it's the Atlanta in-person training, which is going to be amazing. And talk about prizes. We have so many prizes I'm going to be giving away that are worth thousands of dollars at this event too, in addition to learning how to do all this stuff that I do. And it's going to be just a blast and a life-changing, remarkable weekend. Lastly, no live show next week. His Majesty, my son Jonathan, is coming in early next week for a few days. So I will be a really happy mommy, and I will be with His Majesty on Thursday night. So no live show next week, but we'll play a pre-recorded interview that I've done that will be a new release. And so hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. All righty, Chris, let's just go ahead and go to the phones. Hi, Dina.
Hi.
How are you, girl?
Doing pretty good.
Terrific. Tell everybody where you're located.
I live in Hotchkiss, Colorado.
Where's that?
It's in southwest Colorado. It's a rural area. And it's really pretty. We see the Rocky Mountains in the distance and Grand Mesa, which is over 11,000 feet high.
Wow. Where is the Continental Divide? Where is the Continental Divide thing that you hear about in Colorado? Is it near you?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Okay. I always think of that as like the San Andreas Fault in California, but it's not. But that's where That's where the plates separated some, right? The Continental Divide back bazillions of years ago.
Yeah, this is kind of like the little Eden of Colorado. We have the milder weather compared to the Front Range, which is the eastern slope. And there are a lot of orchards. And in fact, I live on a vineyard, biodynamic vineyard. I don't own the vineyard. I just live here.
Fabulous. Well, good. Well, they better not find you out there picking some grapes just for a little snack.
Well, they're wine grapes. So they're, I do have a little growing in my garden. So we'll see how they taste this.
Well, good. You got a question for me?
I do. I was wondering what the difference is between compounded bioidentical hormones and the pellet kind that can be inserted. What are the pros and cons? Which one do you recommend?
I prefer the cream. I've used it for 19 years. For those of you that don't know what Dina and I are talking about, bioidentical hormones are hormones made by what's called a compounding pharmacy or a formulary pharmacy, and they're made for each individual client or patient versus big pharma, makes drugs and then everybody gets the same kind of thing, and they'll change the dosage based on how many pills you take or whatever. So bioidentical hormones are the exact molecular composition of what our bodies make when we're young and fertile. Synthetic hormones made by big pharma have extra molecules added to their formulas so they can be patented. And most of them, if not all of them, are derived from pregnant horse mare urine. So when they go in the body's going, what the heck? I'm not a horse. I don't eat hay. What is this? Kind of a thing. So big fan of bioidentical hormones. As I mentioned, I've been on them 19 years myself. First learned about them from Dr. Christiane Northrup. She's an OBGYN who I call the fairy godmother of women's health. Just go to drnorthrup.com, NORTHRUP, drnorthrup.com, and you will learn all you need to know about bioidentical hormones. The difference between the cream and the pellets is the pellets are inserted. They make a cut in your hip and they put the pellets in. And then they'll put a butterfly or some kind of a bandage on it, some kind of a Band-Aid on it, Dina. And the reason why I'm not a fan of those, I tried them 1 month and within 2 days I had a migraine from hell because it wasn't the right prescription. It wasn't the right amount of estrogen. And so I was in bed throwing up the whole 9 yards. So I was back in that office that afternoon. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my cream with this. It's really hard in my experience and in talking to many, many clients who've tried them. It's hard to tweak the dose. And once you've got it in you, you can't get it out. So you're just kind of out of luck for 6 months. Whereas the cream, which I've used for 19 years, we can regulate it. It's only good for 12 hours. So we can tweak it more easily. The other thing about the pellets that makes sense to me, and I've heard this from several clients who've used them and then stopped using them, is that there's a bell curve when you use them. So they're good for a while, and then over time, they lose their efficacy. And so if for some reason you can't get in the doctor's office or whatever, you're just, again, out of luck because you don't have the hormones in your body. And who wants to go through that? You're feeling really good, and then for some reason you can't get in the doctor's office because the doctor's out of town or there's a global pandemic and the office is closed or whatever. During the pandemic, my cream was sent to me by my compounding pharmacy. And so it's always sent to me every month. I don't go pick it up. It's only 20 minutes from my house, but they send it to me in the mail. It's great. So that's my personal opinion about it. There are women that certainly use the pellets because they're very popular. A lot of doctors offer them. I think they're offered because they're a really good profit center for the doctors, which is okay. I don't begrudge doctors making money, but that's the only reason I can think of is why they would want to use them.
Well, that answers a lot, Julie. That's a lot of really good information.
Well, and it's like I said, it's personal experience. And then the other thing is, why do you want somebody cutting on you every 6 months, putting a little pellet in? And they'll say, well, it's just a little cut. It's still a cut. Why do you want somebody to cut you on purpose to insert this pellet when you can use the cream? It doesn't make sense to me. And again, I'm not a physician. So talk to your physician about this, but everybody that's interested in this stuff, go to drnorthrup.com, drnorthrup.com, and you can read an awful lot. You can educate yourself quickly. And then Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom is her New York Times best-selling book, and The Wisdom of Menopause is the other one that you want to read. I first learned about her on Oprah. Gosh, probably 30 plus years ago. I saw her on Oprah. I think she was on Oprah like 10 times or something. And I was in my 30s at that point. And I was so taken with her that I bought Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom and read it. And then when she came out with The Wisdom of Menopause, I read that way before I started going into perimenopause. And so I felt like I knew what to do once I started having those symptoms.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Is that it? You are most welcome. And to find a doctor that's doing the bioidentical hormones, they keep your brain healthy, your heart healthy, your skin healthy, your bones healthy. I read a study recently, Dina, about, like in the last 3 weeks, about how women are way more prone to dementia and Alzheimer's than men. And they found in this study that women who do the estrogen replacement with the bioidenticals, they are way less likely to have dementia and Alzheimer's, because what they found is that it's the huge drop in estrogen that causes the problems with the memory and with the brain cognition. So that's a reason right there.
Yeah.
To be on it. Yeah. Hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You are most welcome. Hi, Vershawn.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good this week. A lot been happening.
Just this week? Just this week?
This whole year.
This whole year. Where are you? Where are you located?
I'm in Michigan.
Okay.
Near in like Sterling Heights.
Is that in the Detroit area?
No, just a little bit. It's not in Detroit. It's a little further down.
Okay.
Near the
all right.
The mid, like up over here.
Okay. Great. Got a question for me?
I had a question for my granddad who passed away 2 days ago.
Oh, no wonder you're not so well.
What was he did he hear what I was saying just before? Because I know all of our family came over the day before, and I remember I seen a video you was talking about like the 12 stages, and I remember hearing stage 9 in my head, and we went over there. He wasn't able to speak, but when I was talking to him, it was almost like he was moving his mouth, like almost like he was trying to say something. So I just wanted to know what was he I'm aware that he's here because I'd be seeing synchronicities all over the place, like numbers.
Like what?
Like all over the place.
Like what?
Well, sometimes I'll go and look on the YouTube comments. I'll see 777 on a video before I click, or I see 444 before a video I click. or these clocks right here, different times. I might put in a comment that every time I walk in the kitchen at different times, it will say like a different number throughout the day.
I love that. I love that. Well, 7 is the number in the Bible for spiritual perfection, and 3 is the number for divine perfection. So what you do is you add all those numbers together and you get the root number. So 777 is what? 3 sevens is 21. 2 plus 1 is 3, divine perfection. And then 444 is what? 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. So he is sending you a note through those numbers saying, hey, this is divine perfection. This is fabulous that he's in heaven. I've heard from, hospice workers and critical care workers and researchers that that hearing's the last thing to go. So when our loved ones are at the end of life and they act like they can't communicate and they can't hear us and they look like they're pretty much incoherent, I would say kind of in a coma almost, that's just the last thing that's still available is their hearing, and they have it. So yeah, excuse me, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Did you were you talking to him till the end?
Yeah. The night before, we all said our goodbyes to him. He passed away in my old bedroom in the house. Yeah. Towards towards the end. My voice is like, it's almost like something's like stopping from talking.
Was he able to communicate that? Was he able to see spirits? He's telling me yes. He's right on your right. As soon as you think of them, they come right in because our heads are like big satellite dishes and they receive and they transmit frequencies. So for Sean, all you have to do is just think of him and that tunes your satellite dish head to his frequency. And then you just say something to him and it's like there's a two-way radio that's set up, communication. So he's going to communicate with you telepathically. It's going to feel like a thought in your head. And how you know that's from your granddad is it comes in instantly, fast as you can snap your fingers, or before. And the reason it can come in before is because linear time as we know it doesn't exist in the spirit world. That's a human creation. So they already have our thought before we've even thought it out all the way sometimes. So, yeah. Are you guys in the middle of planning his funeral and all of that?
I'm not quite sure what's happening right now, but I believe that's going to be soon.
Okay. Have you read my book, Angelic Attendants? You knew about phase 9?
Not yet. I'm actually pretty new. New to you. So this week, I tuned in last week, and then also this week. So this is my second time. So
well, no coincidences in life, right? This is why you tuned in. But why don't you email me, julie@julieryan.com. Send me an email. I will send you a free digital and audiobook download of Angelic Attendants. Listen to it, read it, share it with everybody in your family. I believe it will give you guys a lot of comfort. And so that'll be my gift to you and your family during this time of sadness. And I love that you're looking for all the synchronicities already because they will be plentiful. And just keep looking for them and just talk to him. What did you call him? What was your granddad name for him?
So he always liked it when we call him Spike, and he used to call me Twit all the time. So that was funny.
Okay. Well, know that he's around you. If you want to talk to him, just think of him. He'll immediately come in. And if you need to find out something as you guys are going through his stuff, or if you need to know where something's located or whatever, just ask him. And you're going to be amazed at how he'll give you the answers.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking out for them.
Yeah. Oh, good. Keep looking for those numbers too. Yeah. So shoot me an email. I'll send you that book
Okay. I
and share it
appreciate
with
it.
your family. You're welcome. Thanks for calling in. Sending you lots of love to you and your family. Hi, Pamela.
Hello.
How are you, my girl?
I'm good. I'm good.
Terrific. Where are you?
I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes,
Terrific. Niagara Falls land, right?
that's right. Very close. Very
Is,
close.
isn't that the wedding capital of the world or something?
I guess.
People think it's Vegas. I think there's more people that get married at Niagara Falls than do in Vegas.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I think it's true. But you don't have Elvis impersonators, so it may not be.
We actually
quite the
do.
same.
We have a really,
Oh!
really good one here locally that plays a lot. So he's pretty famous in our town.
Oh my gosh, how funny. Well, good. Well, you got a question for me?
I do. My mother-in-law, she's 90, and she's the sweetest lady. And I don't get to spend a lot of time with her, and she does have dementia, and she's just been going downhill pretty fast. And last week when we spent some time with her, it was almost like she was physically there, but in her eyes, I just didn't feel like she was really, really there. She definitely did not recognize me. I've only been in her life the last 7 years. My husband and I got married 3 years ago. So, I would be more of a newer person in her life. So I've read the book. I listened to like all the podcasts, everything. And I know that she does see things. She's scared. Even though a lot of people have passed before her, she's scared. And I just want to know what we can do to help her. And maybe
She's in phase 7.
What stage she's in.
She's in phase 7. I already connected to her.
Okay.
When you started talking about her. What's her first name?
Marie.
Okay, she's in phase 7. So she's about, halfway through the 12 phases of transition. For those of you that are listening that don't know what we're talking about, Pamela and I sound like we're speaking a secret language or something, or speaking in code. We're not. It's a series of events that we all go through at the end of life where we're surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and the spirits of deceased pets. And it's really glorious. It adds a glorious component to a heart-wrenching situation when somebody is at the end of their life and it's somebody that you love and they're ready to go, but you're most of the time not ready to let them go. So what you can do, what came in when you asked that, Pamela, was for all of you who are her loved ones to say, it's okay, Mom, it's okay, Marie, if you go. Please know that we love you. We're all going to be fine. Please watch over us from heaven. And that will help a lot. How do you know she's afraid to go?
She's afraid to go to sleep at night. So she spends most of the nights with my sister-in-law at her house, and they sleep in the same bed. She holds her hand all night long. And then the other times when she's with her other son at her main house, she doesn't sleep. She's up most of the night wandering around. She just doesn't sleep well because, of course, he's her son. She doesn't probably sleep in, the same bed. Like she's been sleeping with her daughter, like in their bed, holding her hand. So she doesn't sleep well when she's with her son, even though like she doesn't want to go into like any type of a home or anything. She definitely wants to be with her family because there are some days where she seems fine, but she still definitely has, moments where she isn't fine, and we can tell. I just didn't know if she was in pain and couldn't really tell us, or if this is just the way it is. I don't know.
Well, we'll ask her the 3 questions I always ask. So, Marie, are you ready to go? No. Are you in pain at times? What do you need? Peace of mind. How will you know that you have peace of mind? What needs to happen in order for you to have peace of mind? Was she raised in a religion? Is she practicing in any religion? Does she go to a
Catholic.
certain church or Catholic? Well, no wonder. What came in was, has she had last rites? Has a priest come to see her?
Probably the last month a priest came. She does have a friend who's a priest, and sometimes he comes over. I don't know when the last time was that he was there. But
What
I
I'm
still
getting
think
is
she thinks she takes care of her 2 kids. So and they probably still need her help. So
yeah. Well, what I got when she said she needed peace of mind was she needs to see clergy. She needs to see the priest. And being Catholic, and she's 90, that generation, they know they need to do confession. You know, that was ingrained in them with the Catholics. They need to do their confession before they go because they were taught they were going to go to hell if they weren't forgiven for their sins before they died. And that generation, it's really interesting. And I've worked with a lot of people, my own family included, my parents, my dad especially, was so afraid to die because he was afraid he was going to go to hell or go to purgatory. Now, he was in the seminary in Rome, so he drank the serious Kool-Aid about that with the church. And so he, a priest came and anointed him. I would get a priest to come anoint her. And I would also they'll offer to hear her confession. And that's going to help a lot. That's going to alleviate her fear. She's afraid she's not going to go to heaven, is what's going on.
Just so it just surprises me that she would think that. But because even her husband passed away 8 years ago. And you would think she would almost be like, looking forward to seeing him again, if that's what she...
Well, but if she was indoctrinated with, if you have any sins on your soul when you die, you're going to hell, she's afraid she won't get to see him. So that makes total sense to me. The other thing is the people sometimes that seem to be the most reverent are the ones that are the most afraid. My Aunt Irene, who I loved, and this woman had a hotline to heaven. When she was dying, they lived in Kansas City. She lived in Kansas City, and I flew in for the day. I was on the ground for maybe 12 hours. And I went to the hospital, and the first thing she said to me when I walked into her hospital room was, "You have to tell me what's going to happen. I'm so afraid to die." And I said, "Well, Aunt Irene," and my Uncle Bob was there. And I said, "Aunt Irene, why are you afraid to die? You of all people have a hotline to heaven." She goes, "Well, what if Jesus doesn't want me? What if I have too many sins on my soul and all that?" I said, "Oh, for heaven's sakes." And then I described to her the angels that were around her and how her mom was there, who I knew. We called her Grandma Julie, and her dad was there, and her dogs were there, and she had lost a daughter as a toddler who drowned in their backyard pool. She was there. Her mom was holding the baby, and I described all that to her. And then we said some prayers, and she calmed down. But my point in that is usually people who are the most, not usually, oftentimes, people who are the ones that we would think would be so secure in their spirituality, if they've been raised in a religion that taught them otherwise, those memories are still very much alive, especially at the end of life.
Okay.
So I would get a priest in there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sending you and your family love. Have you've read Angelic Attendance, my book?
Yep.
Okay, good. Share it with your family. If you go to my website and you go to the 12 Phases tab, there's a free download of the chart, the 12 Phases of Transition. Download that and print it off, and then you can give it to your family, and it'll make sense to them, and it'll bring them comfort. Okay. Good luck with all of that.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Bye, Pamela.
Bye.
We do the show every Thursday night at 8 Eastern. 7 Central and 5 Pacific. Just go to AskJulieRyanShow.com, and that will get you right in. And then you can ask a question. We'll get you on. We'll see your cute face on camera, and we'll get you on. This information is available on my website, AskJulieRyan.com. While you're there, schedule an appointment with me. I'm booked out a little bit, but get on my calendar. That's the key. And then once you're on my calendar, we can move you around. The best way to check to see if earlier appointments are available is to just save your confirmation email and periodically click on the reschedule button, and that will show you earlier. We'll reschedule multiple times every week, and people get in usually within a couple of days or sometimes within a week. So it happens all the time. Just key is get on my calendar. We also put a note on all my social media channels, Ask Julie Ryan on all the Instagram and Facebook and all of those, on YouTube as well, with AskJulieRyanShow.com. If you want to call in and ask a question, that would be terrific. And that's basically it. I release a blog each week that has what we're going to do. It's a question that we submit. Hang on, I'm looking for my glasses. I guess I forgot to bring them up. Here they are. We do a question. I answer a question each week, release it as a blog, and then if you have a question that you want to ask, you can just submit it on AskJulieRyan.com, and yours might be chosen to be read on the air. So this week we've got a question from Kathy. And Kathy lives in Albemarle, North Carolina. And she says, "Hi, Julie. When you talk about the maternal spirit coming first when a person is dying, is that always the case? My mother disowned me years before she died, and while dying, told my brother and sister not to tell me when she had died. She carried her anger with her until the moment of her death. I think of her often and wonder if she will be present when I'm ready to make my journey to the next phase. I often tell my children I now understand why my mother felt she needed to disconnect from me. In addition, I'm thankful I'm strong enough to accept my children's shortcomings and not feel I have to divorce myself from them for my own survival. I'm sure my mother knows I get it," she put that in quotes, "and wonder if I'll ever have the opportunity to tell her spirit to spirit. Thank you, Kathy." And here's my response. "Hi, Kathy. My heart goes out to you not only with the loss of your mother, but also because of your unresolved issues with her. It's been my experience in working with thousands of people and their families at the end of life that the maternal spirit closest to the dying person is the first one to arrive. An important point to remember is all spirits are pure love. We all assume character and personality traits like actors in a movie when we're in human form, and those characteristics, regardless of how awful or evil, stay with the body when somebody dies. So she's worried about her mom, who was snarky when she was alive. She's worried about her spirit being there and still being snarky. And what I'm saying is all spirits are pure love. You don't need to worry about those personality traits. She doesn't need to with her mom. We don't need to for anybody. I went on to say, as for your unsettled relationship with your mother, you can heal that now. Here are a couple of suggestions. Number one, write a letter to your mother and include everything you want to tell her. Then take it to a park with barbecue grills, place the letter inside the grill, and burn it. Watch the smoke rise and know you're releasing those pent-up emotions and at the same time sending your thoughts to your mom. The other thing you can do is listen to my chat with Nina Mongendre. It was episode number 385. Just go to AskJulieRyan.com, click on the podcast or the show page, go to 385, and then there are links there to YouTube and all the podcast channels. Or if you have it on your phone, then you can just go to Apple or whatever and just click in on 385. Nina Mongendre, that episode was about ancestral healing In it, Nina and I discuss how to heal emotional wounds with past, present, and future generations. It was really fascinating, that conversation with her, because I had never heard of that concept, that you could heal traumas of your ancestors. Like if you had a great grandmother that had some horrible thing happen, you could help her heal that. And by doing so, you healed her generation, your mom's generation, or your dad, depending on which great grandma it was, and then yourself, and then your future generations. So your children and even your grandchildren going forward. And it's really an interesting discussion about how those traumas can stay with us through the generations. There's been lots of research about Holocaust families when they have a member of the family who died in a camp during World War II, and the generations that went forward. Let's say my girlfriend's grandfather died in one of the camps, and so her mother was already born, and then she was born. But there are traumas that come through the DNA. I had no idea. It's really interesting. So check that out. And then I closed with, hope this information provides some comfort for you. So episode 3, let me put my glasses back on. What did I say? It's 385 with Nina Mangendre. She's French. So I'm trying to use my Frenchy accent on that Mangendre. So there we go. Okay, Chris, let's go back to the phones. Hi, Ludi.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you?
Terrific. Thanks for having me. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome. I love your shirt. I love the color. It's like a lime green.
Yeah, like a lime.
Terrific. Well, where are you?
I'm in Pensacola, New Jersey.
Down the southern part of the state.
Correct.
Terrific. You got a question for me?
I do. I have a dilemma right now. I don't know if I really called you to see if you can do a medical scan or medical healing on my brother that just has surgery on his left knee. And he's here at home recovering for a few weeks. And I really want him to recover fast and go back to the person that he used to be. But at the same time, I'm thinking about my husband that passed away a couple years ago. And I wanted to see if he have any message for me. But I don't know. Either or works for me, whatever you think is the proper answer for me right now.
You choose.
My brother, obviously. Yes, he's here.
Okay, what's his first name?
Lenny.
Lenny. All right. Lenny and Ludi.
We all else.
So, oh my gosh, I love it. All right, here we go. Here comes my laser beam from Sweet Home, Alabama, heading up to you in Jersey. Got your brother, left knee. What did he have done to a knee? Did he get a new implant? Did he get a new joint?
No, so this man fell playing with the kids. One of the kids was my son, 8 years old, running around the house in the garden. I was the only one who saw the accident. I'm traumatized. He had he ruptured the patellar tendon, so they repaired.
Okay. All right. He's got joint stuff going on too. That's why I went to the joint right away. So that's why he fell, because his knee joint is not right. So what I'm watching is the joint get replaced. And then we're going to work on what did you say? You ruptured a ligament? Tendon?
Tendon, yeah.
Tendon. All right. Ooh. All right. Interesting. It's more of a joint thing. How young is he?
He's 46.
Was he an athlete?
Yes.
Okay. Do you play football or what do you play?
Correct. Football, yes. And rugby.
Yeah. Yeah. Both rough sports.
Correct. And he already have surgery prior years in the other knee. So now both knees have treatments now, like I have surgeries now.
Okay. All right. So what I'm watching is a new joint get put in his left knee, because that's why his knee gave out. And imagine that there's a mold, Ludi, like a Jello mold or a plastics mold in manufacturing, and stem cell energy is going into that mold. And imagine that there's a vortex spinning above it. That centrifugal force is what transforms the stem cell energy into new body parts, whatever body part we need. You need a liver, you need a kidney, you need a gallbladder, you need a new knee, whatever. It works great. And so what we're doing is we're taking the diseased joint out, putting the new joint in, and then we'll put stem cell energy on the tendon. All right, it's being glued into his bones. There's like a stake that goes in upper and lower, and then they use bone cement in there to glue it in. So they hammer it in, and then they use bone cement around it. That the surgical device inventions that I've come up with a lot of help from Spirit, even though that was before I did woo-woo. I've been in a lot of those surgeries, so I know what goes on in those. So we're doing that. All right. It's so funny, Ludi, when I watch an orthopedic healing, because I watch the body part get tested. I'm watching Spirit move his knee back and forth to be sure that it's in there right. All right. I'm watching that. All right. The tendon, stem cell energy on that. That's being slathered on the tendon. The tendon, when I see a muscle or a tendon or a ligament or something that's been injured, have you ever seen a little girl with long hair and they have split ends in their hair? It's like you can see the hair, they got all these little wispies that are coming off of it. That's what these look like to me. And so the stem cell energy that gets slathered on it not only makes those go away, but it strengthens all the fibers in those body parts. So vortex spinning above his knee, got that going on. How long ago did he have the surgery?
He had surgery the last week in June, I believe it was. And he fell on June 19th.
Okay. So he's 6 weeks out?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Is he doing physical therapy?
Yeah, he's doing physical therapy.
And how's it going for him?
It's going good, yeah. He's just, he's so active but he's doing much better and his knee looks good. I mean, I just keep praying so he can go back.
Yeah. Yeah. He'll be fine. He's going to make a full recovery. It's all good. Yeah. He's going to be like a new bionic man.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for calling in. I hope he feels better.
Thank you so much, Julie. Take care. Sending all my love.
You too. Back to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Looks like our next caller is Lindley. Hi, Lindley.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm good. I called you in a few weeks ago about my cat Meatloaf, and I've been having a great time with the knowledge you've given me ever since.
Oh, tell everybody where you're located, please.
I am in Pensacola, Florida.
Pensacola, pretty close to me.
Yeah, not too far away.
Yeah. Home of the Blue Angels, the Navy performing fighter jets. I had somebody recently who's a client, and she, where was she? Seattle, I think. And she said when she got on the phone for our private appointment, she said, the angels are among us. And then I heard this thunder, this roar. And I asked her, I said, are you guys having a storm? And she said, no, we're having an air show. And the Blue Angels just flew over my house. They're practicing for the air show this weekend. I said, well, there you go.
They're certainly not quiet at all.
Yeah. How's Meatloaf?
She's good. She's lounging somewhere down there. She's loafing around, as I say.
Meatloaf, your cat. I think that's hilarious. I think you were in your car when you called last time.
I was. I put my Target run on pause.
Oh, I'm so honored. Oh my gosh. Well, you got a question for me?
I do. Kind of like Dina. This may potentially be related to hormones, but I'm not sure. I kind of feel like my body is falling apart, and it shouldn't be for a 25-year-old. I struggle with eczema, cystic acne, I've had excessive bloating. I'm constantly exhausted, even after sleeping 8, 9, 10 hours. Whenever I work out, it completely drains my energy. I recently have had MRSA pop up a couple months ago, which I don't know is related, if it's correlated with my eczema at all, but I've haven't dealt with that since I was a kid and didn't know that adults could contract it, and it's been pretty awful. Thankfully, I've gotten that under control, but I've been feeling really lightheaded and dizzy as well, and just very, very depleted and exhausted altogether. And I feel like something is very off internally, but I don't know what exactly that might be.
Well, yeah, you got leaky gut and you've got yeast overgrowth. So while you're talking, I already went ahead and connected to you energetically. For those of you that are first time joining the show, I raised my vibrational level to the level of spirit. I watch a laser beam come from my body here in Birmingham, Alabama, hooked into Lindley in Pensacola. And then I have a hologram of her in my mind's eye. And it's as if I'm looking at an x-ray or a CT scan or an MRI. And so what I started doing was I was checking your GI tract because I knew those symptoms are all related to gut. Leaky gut. Have you ever heard of that?
I have, but I haven't looked into it too much. But ironically, the call that I was on with you a few weeks ago, someone had called about their daughter asking for the same thing. She was saying that she found that out and that she drinks kombucha, and you were saying, oh no, stay away from kombucha, that causes overgrowth. And kombucha is my favorite too, so that's a bummer.
Yeah. Well, what you want to do is you want to stay away from any kind of sugar or refined anything, Lindley, because yeast loves sugar, and bread and cereal and snacks that are refined, they just absorb like sugar. So the yeast is like, woohoo, let's have a party. So stay away from that. Number one, you want to stay away from all fermented things: wine, beer, alcohol, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, vinegar, soy sauce, all that kind of stuff. Not for life, just till you get your gut healthy, because it feeds the yeast. When we have yeast overgrowth in our guts, our stomachs and our GI tract become a yeast fermentation factory. And when you drink something that's fermented, then it's just like pouring gasoline on a fire, just exacerbates it. So stay away from fermented things. And then you want to stay low on the food chain. If God made it, eat it. If man made it in a factory, do your best to avoid it. If you're going to eat fruit, peel it, because there's tons of yeast on the peel of fruit. You're going to peel an orange, but peel an apple, a peach, pear, a plum. Peel all that stuff. I don't expect you to peel a blueberry or a grape, but certainly peel anything that you can, and buy organic as much as you can. And then what else? Refrigerate leftovers, because when we have leftover food in the fridge overnight, it gets yeast all over it. Yeast and mold are nature's garbage disposal. It's what decomposes food. So you want to freeze and reheat your food when you have leftovers. I am the Ziploc bag queen of the universe. Everything goes in a Ziploc bag at my house. And a trick that I learned, Lindley, was if you lay it flat on a shelf in your freezer, I'll use a Sharpie and mark whatever it is. I even put soup in Ziploc bags. And then you get the air out of it, lay it flat once it's sealed on a shelf in your freezer. And then when it's frozen, you can stack the packages upright like files in a file drawer. And that works great.
So the freezer, not the refrigerator? Stay away from the refrigerator?
You want to freeze it. Freeze it if you have leftovers. Yep, freeze it. And then you want to do the Viome test, Viome.com. Use Julie Ryan at checkout. Just put my name in. That'll give you like 60% off. And then you want to do that and then get a hold of some nystatin. Nystatin. Nystatin is an antifungal that kills yeast on contact, and that will help alleviate it. I also recommend consider working with Dr. Amasanti in London. She works with people all over the world via Zoom. It's DRAMASANTI. dramasanti.com. She is just a wizard at helping people get their guts healthy. She can't prescribe anything to you because she's out of the country, but she can help a lot. So those are my recommendations.
And this is all just leaky gut. Is there anything else that's
all leaky gut? All of it. Leaky gut and yeast overgrowth. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Are there any supplements that you would recommend taking in general? I've been wanting to get with a naturopath to see if the supplements that I'm taking are beneficial or not, or if there are any other ones that might be recommended. But I feel like I take a lot and I'm just kind of throwing some things at the wall, hoping that the supplements that I'm taking are working. But
yeah, that would be a question for Dr. Amasanti. The key is get on nystatin and change your diet, tweak your diet to stay away from that stuff I mentioned. Probiotics are a total waste of time when you have yeast overgrowth because the yeast just crowds out the probiotics. It's like throwing grass seed on a field of weeds. They're just going to choke out the grass. So get your gut healthy, and then you can start adding in the other things. And Dr. Amasanti can help you with that. So thanks so much for calling.
Yeah, thank you. That's so helpful.
Better.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
How are you?
I've been better.
Uh-oh. That sounds foreboding. Where are you located? Where are you, girl?
I'm in Paradise in British Columbia on the Sunshine Coast, which is a ferry ride away from Vancouver.
Right. Is that what it's called, your town, Paradise?
No, no, it's called Roberts Creek.
Okay. Great. All right. Wonderful. Well, you got a question for me?
Yes. I have always known that I'm a healer and a visionary and a creator since I was 5. And I also grew up without boundaries in a narcissistic crazy house. And there was a lot of things that I didn't want to see. And I'm mostly blind. And I recently had to have a tooth pulled, and it's infected, and I'm going on the 3rd course of antibiotics tomorrow. But the main thing is, like, I think I'm so used to things going sideways that when I was having all of this tooth stuff, and with my, I'm so starkly visual that when I lost the vision in this eye completely because of a bad surgery from a supposed to be the best surgeon in British Columbia, I now have like this cavity where I used to go to get my information. Like I didn't know I would do that, but I'm really aware of it now. Like I would kind of go over there and the information would be right there for me. And because I'm so visual, my brain is creating random pictures. And I see the 3 same pictures all the time. And now when I go, like if I'm trying to have a conversation socially, I find that I can't retrieve the information socially. I work as a healer. I can still do that, but I feel like there's something around my pineal gland that got closed down because I didn't want to see stuff when I was a child, but I would feel all the information around me. And I just wonder if you could go do a scan and see what's going on in there.
Yeah. Help me understand what you're talking about. So you see the same 3 pictures all the time, whether you're in the middle of a healing or whether you're at a dinner just socializing.
It'll be one of these 3 just random things that just keeps repeating itself like a mirage. But it's almost like there's this black hole where I used to have my visual acuity. And I also feel like it's pulling off of my ability to do readings comfortably because I go over there to kind of look, and then I'm like, oh, the black hole. I gotta kind of maneuver somewhere else to get my information.
And that's with your eyes closed when you're getting information from spirit in your healings?
Usually my eyes are open.
Okay. Try it with your eyes closed. See if that makes a difference. When I say getting divine downloads, I got information coming into my head. What I'm getting is that it has to do with your loss of vision in that eye. And so your brain's kind of confused with that. So let me get you on my radar. I can see things energetically with my eyes open, but I usually close my eyes first, Dana, because it helps me focus. And then I'll open my eyes to talk to you. But let me get you on my radar and we'll see what I can pick up. So here comes my laser beam from Sweet Home, Alabama, heading to you up in Canada. All right, got you. And it's your right eye that you've lost vision in. Is that correct?
Right and left. I have maybe an eighth of ability to see out of this eye, the other eye. So I'm blind.
Oh, God love you. All right. So I'm in there in the right eye. What I'm watching is a healing on your eye. And then we'll go to the energy stuff. Okay. So the eyeball itself, imagine the eyeball is Jello. You know what Jello is? Do they call it Jello up there? I think they do. Or down here in the deep south, they would call that a congealed salad, darling. It's congealed salad. Anyways, if your eyeball was made out of Jello, and I scooped a big scoop in the front of your eye and left a divot in that Jello, I'm scooping out the part that's been injured. I'm watching stem cell energy go in and fill the divot. Light amber colored gel, sparkles, reminds me of a watery hair gel called Dippity Doo when I was a kid in the 60s and 70s. There's a vortex spinning out front of it. That's regenerating your eye. That's a healing on your eye that's happening on your right eye. Let me go over to the left eye. Left eye looks to me like you got some peripheral left as I look through your eyes from the back of your head. Is that what you see in your left eye? You see kind of like an outline?
Yeah, it's tunnel. I have glaucoma. It's tunnel vision. I've had surgeries since I was 15 years old.
Oh, heavens. Okay. All right. So let's go in there. Same thing, scooping that out, leaving a divot, putting stem cell energy in there, vortex spinning in front of that eye. In the meantime, the muscles behind your eyes are being tightened. When we age and we need cheaters to read small print, that's the muscles getting loose. So in healings for reading close up, I always watch the muscles get tightened. So that's what I'm watching right now. I'm watching a LASIK procedure performed on both of your eyes that will change the refraction of the light so that you can see distance. A laser just makes like a little slit in your eye in the front, and then that's going to help with distance. Okay. Right eye's still regenerating. Left eye's coming back online faster than the right eye, but it looks like the right eye's got more issues with it going on. Okay. So we got that going on. While that's doing its healing, we're girls, so we can multitask, right? So we'll let it do its thing. And then what I'm doing is I'm going up into your brain to see the brain neural pathways look like laser beams as part of a security system in a museum guarding the paintings and the statuary and the artifacts and things, and they crisscross. You have some in there that are kind of like what we would say is a rat's nest, just all crisscrossed. And you ever had like I call it a rat's nest in my hair. You get out of the shower and you got to comb your hair, and sometimes you've got like, I don't know what they call it, but it's when you've got tangles in your hair, I guess is what's called. So you've got that in your eye. What I'm watching is a clear liquid get sprayed on that tangle, think of some kind of detangler we'd use on our hair. Maybe when we were little, did you ever spray that stuff on your hair to get the tangles out so that your hair could be combed more easily? I'm watching that. And what's happening is those neural pathways are detangling. And then we're going to put stem cell energy on all of them. So they're going to go back in place. I think that it's the combination of what's happening on the physical is what's distracting you from getting the information from spirit when you're doing your healings. Because, when we get out of alignment with spirit doesn't communicate on the I feel crappy channels because the vibration's too low. So I think when you're seeing that, you're going into frustration and you're getting out of alignment with spirit. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel
so the
like
neural pathways.
I feel like I might have put in a vow or something just to be able to stay here because I was so sensitive and everything just was so harsh that I think I was protecting myself with some kind of a shield around what I could see.
Yeah, maybe. I would love to have you for a full hour and we could do a deep dive on this and really see what we can do and reverse engineer all these symptoms and see what we can do to help. So in the meantime, that's a couple of big healings you just got there, girl. And I hope it helps a lot. Yes, you're welcome. Thanks for calling in. Hi, Indra.
Hi, Joey. It's so good talking to you. I've been following your show for a while and
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you so much for calling in. Where are you?
I'm in Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay, terrific. Wow, what's going on up there?
So I have a question on the medical side. A few years ago, I had a mildish pancreatic attack. I didn't know at the time. I think it was related to a kind of emotional event going on that day, as I found out, as I guessed later, but it could have be, have been growing, building up for a while as I had a baby at that time, and then maybe hormonal issues. And then because of that, since that attack, I couldn't eat greasy food, fatty food for a while. So my gallbladder became sluggish. And since then, for a few years, I had to live with that, just limit my food intake. And whenever I eat more, the gallbladder would, kick in and hurt more. And then when I cut back on fat, the gallbladder would become more sluggish. So I've been having this bloating and gas issues and kind of indigestion, but which kind of improve with digestive enzymes. But still, it's I feel like, and then I visited a number of doctors. They just say, oh, it's more or less fine, just manage the symptoms. But I know, since that, it's really difficult to just enjoy a meal and then not worry about the consequences. So I wonder if you could, do a medical scan and see if there's any other issues or if this could be, helped in any way.
Sure, absolutely. So here we go. Here comes my laser beam from Sweet Home, Alabama, heading over to you in Virginia. All right, got you. You're full of yeast, like Lindley, the gal that I just talked to. Yeah, everything that I told her pertains to you. So I'm clearing it out. You've got leaky gut, and you get that healed, and all these other symptoms are going to go away. You're not going to be in pain. It's not going to be sluggish. Call Dr. Amasanti. Go to dramasanti.com and schedule an appointment with her, and she'll help you get your gut healthy. I know so many people that were told they need their gallbladders out, and they got their guts healthy, and all the symptoms went away, and they didn't need their gallbladders out. They didn't need surgery.
I had no idea.
So, yeah. How old's your baby now?
She's 5 now.
Oh, well, that's a long time dealing with that, those GI issues.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Julie.
Oh, gosh. You're most welcome. Give her a hug from us.
Thank you. Will do.
You bet. Bye-bye. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, my girl?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm calling from Mishawaka, Indiana, and I really love your show and everything you do to help people heal. And I was hoping that if you could please send some energetic healing or assessment of my mom's left hip joint. She's in severe pain and it would be wonderful to get any guidance. She's in Niles, Michigan, and I'm in Mishawaka, Indiana.
What's her first name, Kim?
Ellen.
Okay. All righty. Here we go. I'm going to connect to you and then from you to your mama. All right. Got you. Sweet Home, Alabama to Indiana. Got you. Okay. Going over to your mom. Got her. Do I have your permission to scan you? She says, what's that? I'm like a human MRI. I'm going to help with some energetic healing. She's saying, I think not. She said, I think not. Okay. So it's all right. We can talk to her spirit. Let's see what's going on. Because the reason why I'm okay with that, Kimberly, is I'm not looking at her like I'm looking at an x-ray without her permission, but her spirit's going to tell us what it wants us to know. It's kind of like you're talking to somebody with pneumonia. They're going to tell you how they feel, but you're not looking at their chest x-rays without their permission. So that's how I rationalize that. That's kind of my barometer for that. So, Ellen, it's her left hip. Do you need a hip replacement? I get a yes. Has she been to see the orthopedist?
She has not yet. She's been in physical therapy. She just went to physical therapy today for maybe the third time, and it feels good for while she's there, but then it goes straight to a level 9-10 pain scale. So how quickly should she get the hip replacement?
Well, who's sending her to physical therapy? Is an orthopedic surgeon that's sending her to physical therapy?
That's a good point. Perhaps, yes.
Yeah, and usually they make them go through that because of insurance before they put the new hip in. So just say, hey, it's not working. And she wants a new hip. The new hips are so easy to get in, Kimberly. And normally they'll have them up walking a couple of hours post-op. And with a lot of people, they don't even keep them in overnight. It's outpatient. Or if they keep them in, it's like one night. So, yeah, I'm getting that she needs a new hip and she's going to be a new woman. And the most important thing is she'll be out of pain.
Thank you, Julie. God bless you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was great. Thanks to everybody that called in and to those of you that I didn't get to. Hopefully I'll get to you next week or in 2 weeks because, again, I'm not doing a live show. But everybody, thanks for listening and joining us. Sending you lots of love. Mwah! From Sweet Home, Alabama. Remember to subscribe, share the show with your friends and family, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow Julie on Instagram and YouTube at Ask Julie Ryan and like her on Facebook at Ask Julie Ryan. To schedule an appointment or submit a question, please visit AskJulieRyan.com.
This show is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be medical, psychological, financial, or legal advice. Please contact a licensed professional. The Ask Julie Ryan Show, Julie Ryan and all parties involved in producing, recording, and distributing it assume no responsibility for listeners' actions based on any information heard on this or any Ask Julie Ryan shows or podcasts.